Hello, Abigail here with the Tarot Scopes for Pisces season. This video is for the fire signs, so Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. There is a video linked below for the astrology for Pisces season. So enjoy, my loves. All right, moving on. We are going to start with Aries. Hello, my Aries folks. It is quite a season. We have a lot going on. Like I said, there is a video link below for the astrology. But you'll hear a little bit about it because it is pretty bombastic and there's some really important stuff happening specifically in Aries, mainly the Saturn Neptune conjunction. But yeah, it's going to be a lot of energy. We also have the eclipses, Mercury retrograde. You can check out that video. But starting off with your archetype / oracle card, we have imperfection, which I think is really beautiful and appropriate and feels very Aries. I'm not saying that y'all aren't perfect, but the energy of Aries is creation energy, and creation is not perfect. Creation is functional, it is beautiful, it is divine, but perfection is not a part of the creative process. If we always strove for perfection, we would never create anything. Some of the most impactful creations have come about through imperfection. And so in this season, let it be messy and messier than usual. Allow the energy to flow and to shift and to change and be experimental, explore, discover. Like I said, Aries energy is kind of already tends towards this. And I think during these eclipses, you can dig in a little more. And that's obviously going to be amplified by Saturn in your sign. It's going to be amplified by Neptune hanging out there. You are also maybe going to start to feel kind of the impact of imperfection because Saturn comes in and kind of cleans house. But I think it's important to note that it's not a call to reject imperfection, but to just understand better this state of things in whatever house Aries falls in your chart. All right, so let's check out what we have. Oh, the card's a little sticky today. Okay. I'm just going to take 5 instead of 4. Okay. So, all minor arcana, which is interesting because, yeah, I think maybe one other sign so far has gotten all minor, but for eclipses, it feels like there's a lot of value in the details, value in our responses to things. Our first card starting off here is the Queen of Cups. This season is about getting to know yourself emotionally. It's about understanding your needs and what you are feeling and putting that in the forefront. Less about attainment, although there is a measure of work in here. We have, with the exception of one card, these are all face cards, all court cards. So when I see these cards come out, it is about embodiment, which makes sense with imperfection being our card because we're never going to embody something perfectly, and that's not the point. The point is that we do it. And so in this season, there is an embodiment. It feels as though the Queen of Cups kind of leads us into, we have 2 pages and a knight. And so there is a need for refresh and creativity and also some consistency, which I think the Queen and the Knight are going to bring us. But let's get to the one non-court card first. 2 of Wands. This is an energy of creation. It's a spark. It is, to me, it's the rubbing of 2 sticks together to start a fire. No, we're not in the middle of a process necessarily, but we are starting and initiating something. Also, I think the full initiation is going to happen in your season, Aries season, or at least where some of your very powerful placements are. And so this is kind of the setup for Aries season, which makes sense because Pisces season is the final zodiac sign of the zodiacal calendar. So just know that this is kind of a closing and a becoming rather than a harvest and an attaining. I'll put these 2 babies together. We have Page of Pentacles, Page of Swords. We need limitless curiosity in this season. We need an ability to do the thing before it's ready. The Page of Pentacles starts something before they have all the information. They hope in impossible circumstances. They believe in the efforts of their labor, even though they have no proof that it's going to work out at all. And the Page of Swords has this curiosity and hunger for knowledge and information. And so it definitely feels like you're on a journey of discovery. You're on a journey of kind of getting to know yourself better, which is very much the hallmark of Saturn in any sign. Saturn, check out what house your Aries is in, because a lot of that is going to change over the next 2 years. Um, and this is just the beginning, and it's pretty exciting. And I would also check out when your placements get their conjunction, because it takes 2 years. If you're a later degree placement, it won't be for another year. If you're a middle degree placement, you're going to probably get caught up in the retrograde. And if you're an early degree placement, now is the time. And last but not least, we do have this Knight of Pentacles. Knights embody forward motion and action, but the Knight of Pentacles takes action thoughtfully and consistently. In this season, we're not being asked to just throw our energy willy-nilly. Be really intentional about where you place your energy, even in kind of the playful curiosity and the kind of blind hope and the ability to ignore imperfection doesn't mean that you don't need to plan and strategize. Take your time. The eclipses are going to do so much around you that it's important for you to embody who you are within you. Okay. I am excited for the season. It feels like the beginning of a new era for you, or rather the end of an old era. And as we enter into Aries season, will be the beginning of a new one. So be patient. It is coming. You do not need to be perfect in order to be exactly who and what you need to be. That is my reading for Pisces season. I hope it is a blessed one, and I will see you all later. Hello, my Leos. This is your tarot scope for Pisces season, Leo, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Just so you know, if you didn't watch the intro, there is a video linked below with the astrology of Pisces season, because there is so much happening. Eclipses, retrogrades, Neptune, Saturn conjunction. And yeah, it is going to be intense and a lot. However, we've been kind of getting a mixed bag with the readings so far. Some of them are about being internal and the inner details. Some of them speak about much bigger and larger themes. So I'm excited to see where this one goes. All right, let's pull. Nice. Sincerity is your Oracle archetype card. This is a time to be sincere, honest, true to who you are and what you want, to express yourself honestly. I will tell you, the Mercury retrograde will help you be that way. It is in Pisces. There is a longing for sincerity in Pisces, partially because Pisces is so expansive. Something that can help ground that energy is sincerity and honesty, because it puts up parameters for us. And so in this Pisces season, be sincere with yourself, be honest, listen to other people with sincerity. And here's the deal: if people aren't being sincere with you, I think it might be a sign that maybe these people aren't for you, or just the dynamic of the relationship at least has to shift. But let's see what the cards have for us. Yes, that makes a whole lot of sense. Some of you are going to be dealing with family dynamics that are the issue when it comes to sincerity. Undecked. Alrighty, so we start off with this lovely Knight of Wands. It is about trusting and following your own guiding light. It's about listening to the lessons that you've learned in the past and taking that and taking action moving forward. I do think with the opposition of the first eclipse that happens right before we enter Pisces season, you are on your way, on a journey, trailblazing your way through the cosmos. I think my only thing is allow, pardon me, the universe to kind of sweep you along rather than trying to force a path forward. Let the universe carry you rather than feeling like you have to manufacture energy. A lot of you Leos are very good at energy manufacturing, whether you're a moon or a rising or whatever. But Leo energy is very good at just creating. In this season, allow the primary source of push to come from the universe, because it's already happening, and you will tread off the path less if you simply follow where the current is going. And it'll save you a lot of energy, because people are being a little funky here. Starting off, we do have the Seven of Swords. Not everyone is being honest and sincere. Surprise, surprise. It's also just very Mercury retrograde that people are not, being truthful and honest and sincere. Not necessarily everyone being purposefully deceptive, but definitely feels like it's happening within a system. Which is why I have the Six of Cups here, which is also a card that I used this deck in, I think, the Scorpio reading. I usually use 6 decks and then I recycle them twice. And so there is a connection and a kind of past history with people, and this season is that season to redirect them. Also, with the Knight of Wands, this might also be the season that you get the courage to stand up for yourself, to say no more, to in the very least say, hey, this relationship dynamic that we have, not healthy, not working for either of us. Can we please change it? And then it's up to the other person to reciprocate. But yeah, not everyone's telling you the truth. Not everyone has your best interest at heart. Um, like I said, let sincerity be your guide. Where people are being sincere and open and honest with you, that is the way to go. And where they are not, it is an indication of either a door closing or you needing to kind of shift directions and move in a different way. Um, Also, I'm getting for a couple of you, not all of you, there is specifically one person who kind of has it out for you. I do think up until this point, you've been like, it's not possible. We've been friends for so long, and like, we've always had such a good connection. And I think you need to start really listening to what they're saying and really paying attention to what their actions are also saying. I do love our final card because it feels very apropos considering we have sincerity, we have temperance. Temperance is the card of Sagittarius. It is also the card of regulation and needing to find balance externally and internally. If you notice, this tree and water kind of blend into this ever like continual cycle, while the water kind of also has a similar pattern. It is about creating flow with your environment, with other people, regulating. A way to regulate is honesty and sincerity, right? Because you're not having to put up a facade, you're not having to put extra effort into creating a narrative that is more acceptable to the other person. It is time to be your honest self. And I know a lot of my Leos pride themselves on being able to manage and be kind of, acceptable in a sense to a wide range of people, which is why some of you do really well in public spaces. Um, but this is the time to be unlikable. And not because you're not a likable person, but because you really need to stand up for yourself. And people in unhealthy dynamics are very rarely open to shifting to a healthy one because oftentimes they don't even know what that would look like if they did. So if you have any relationships that are feeling especially crunchy right now and not really open and honest, I encourage you to be open and honest. Do I think you're going to have a lovely ending for all of these dynamics? No, but you will at least know where you stand, and you will better understand where this person is coming from and if these relationships and connections are viable going forward. As far as kind of other stuff happening, what I'm getting a lot of this is interpersonal. I think once we get into Aries season, you're going to see more of the physical stuff kind of coming forward, and more attainment and more success when it comes to external things. But this season is incredibly internal, and I would encourage you to honor that, and to kind of sort out your relationships and your interpersonal dynamics so that when the time to move does come and when things do start to shift, the kind of the scene is set for that abundance and kind of growth energy. Yeah, it's also a reminder that Pisces season is the end of the zodiacal season, so we're closing things out. It's not quite go time. So take that time to close off these energetic connections or to redirect them so that in the next phase, you have everything prepped to go forward. Anyways, my loves, I really wish you a blessed eclipse season, a blessed Mercury retrograde, a blessed Saturn Neptune conjunction, and a blessed Pisces season. Hello, my Sagittarians. This is your tarot scopes for Pisces season, Sagittarius sun, moon, and rising. There is a video link below for the astrology because, well, firstly, because I always do it, and secondly, because this season is very action packed. Not quite the same as last Pisces season where we were headed into a Venus retrograde, a Mercury retrograde, and the eclipses, but we have eclipses and we have a Mercury retrograde, so still a measure of chaos. Uh, but let's get into the cards, see what they have to say for us. Starting off, we have a potential. I love this. Also reminds us that in the Chinese calendar, we are headed into the year of the horse on that eclipse the day before we go into Pisces season. And I do love how, you know, they do kind of look like a fire horse. I'm obviously not a teacher on this. I do not do, um, the Eastern calendar or Chinese culture. So you can always look for, people whose culture that is to educate you more. But I do think there's something important about the year of the high fire horse for you. So look into that. Also, potential. We have these eclipses. We have this bombastic energy from the universe, and feels like you are going to get a lot of motion and shifts that have been much needed in this season. Ooh, yes, yes. I'm really appreciating these cards. Okay, there's the eclipse card. Knew it. Oh, and a flyer. Nice. And we've seen him come out in other readings. I want to say Aries. So, starting off, we have the Fool. Really lines up this potential. The number 0 is a limitless potential. You can take this energy any direction. It is newness. Also reminds me that in April, we're going to have, Uranus finally going into Gemini, and that is opposing your sign, and it'll be there for 7 years. So we are on this huge shift, and I think Uranus is really going to shake your life up. We had it, can't remember the exact dates, but Uranus was in Gemini for a hot second last year, so just be aware. But there is limitless potential in these eclipses. In this Pisces season, it is going to be kicking off the new zodiac year into Aries season. Is it all smooth sailing? No. We do have some delays. I do think this is very much the energy of Pisces, us wrapping things up, closing things out. Also, while the Virgo Pisces eclipse axis kind of dwindles out into 2027, it's a very long wind down. We did just start a new axis, and it does shift, those nodes do shift over in July. So we are still wrapping things up, finishing things up. I don't think this is a huge problem. Just you have some strings to tie off. You have some cords to cut. You have some things to remove before you fully embrace this full moment, before your full potential is reached. However, the beginning of that potential starts now with this lovely Ace of Cups. Also reminds me that your ruler, Jupiter, is currently in Cancer, and there is this renewal, especially once it stations direct, which I have my notes in front of me, and that is on the 10th of March. Once Jupiter stations direct, you are going to start to pick up speed, and it'll be outside of, we won't be fully out of the eclipse window, but we will be outside of the eclipse portal. Nice. But as we barrel towards that new moon in Pisces, which is right before we go into Aries season, I do think you're going to see a lot of opportunity open up, a lot of connections with new people, a lot of things coming in that are going to support your journey going forward, and really, I'm getting really help sustain you for the long haul. Part of the reason that's coming through is because we do have the Son of Pentacles or the Knight of Pentacles, which is about continuing progression. Also, even though we have the Fool, which is like all of these new beginnings, these aren't like just new beginnings with like no prior history. These are new beginnings in the context of things you have been working on, new opportunities, new ideas, new potential opening up. But we are still needing to build on something and to take our time and to plan. Don't make any rash decisions just because you're tired of this Nine of Wands, right? The Nine of Wands is there to slow you down so that you take your time to get everything organized and set up so that you have the best space for your potential to take off, for your energy to kind of get re-regulated and ready for these really big next steps and changes, which are really important. Also, I would definitely look at where the eclipses are in your chart, including the eclipse we had in Aquarius season. So where is Aquarius in your chart? Where is Virgo in your chart? Where's Pisces? Where is Leo? I think you get a lot of information, especially with the Fool card. I think some of you would really benefit from an astrology reading. Could be me, could be someone else, but I would encourage you to get a reading if you haven't already this year. to kind of help set you up for success, because it feels like this year especially has a lot to give you, and especially energetically. And so harnessing that with a little bit of help and guidance, not a bad idea. But yeah, slow and steady wins the race. Don't skip any steps. It's not going to get you there faster. It's just going to create more obstacles if you kind of rush into stuff. But yeah, there's a really lovely call to like tap into and to connect with your intuition as you enter these kind of newer connections, newer desires, kind of an emotional rebirth. I would also say that maybe one of the weekends, maybe one of the eclipse moments. Both of them are on weekdays, but maybe like the first weekend of March or something. Maybe you can take some time to yourself. It doesn't have to be in that timeline, but sometime in Pisces season, even if it's just a day or an afternoon, just give yourself some time to refresh. Also, getting that some of you really need a head wash. It's basically like making a tea that you dump on your head. I cannot remember the creator I got it from, but I like to use a mixture of cloves, and sometimes I'll add cinnamon. I use hyssop oil and frankincense. I know I'm missing something. I like to throw mint in there. Um, but you basically steep that like a tea, and then you pour it on your head. If you're really sensitive, you can rinse it off. I like to kind of leave in a little bit so I can kind of like smell the lovely spices. But I think some of you, as you move through the eclipses, could really benefit from some kind of cleansing. I'm also getting sound cleansing for some of you. So, and obsidian. Some of you need some protection, my dears, because you are about to take off, just making sure that everything is strapped in and lined up. And when I say take off, we're talking like this is the slow, incremental shift into Aries season. And I feel like culminations are going to start happening in your oppositional sign of Gemini. So as we get towards the end of spring into, the beginning of summer. Anyways, my loves, that is my reading for you. You guys got a lot of spiritual advice, which take some of it. But I wish you a very blessed Pisces season. And I really hope that you can see and understand and appreciate your own potential even before it is fully realized.